All right, I got it. All right, I'll click my got it button because it's warning me that you're recording.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, welcome to Type2Take2, everyone. This is Danyell, as you know, your hostess. And I have a special guest with me today. Her name is Sue Karpinski, and she is very, very awesome. I'm really excited to invite you to hear her story. You may remember that I was talking about our Charlie Brown hormones. It's a segment, and I've got some awesome people. Last time you heard from Taylor, now you're gonna hear from Sue. And Sue, well, I'll let her tell the story. Sue, welcome, Sue.
Oh, thanks, Danielle. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to kind of tell my story. It's not often. I kind of held it to myself for so long. Kind of a little bit about myself. First of all, background. I have over 14 years of experience in wellness background working within corporate. But I also, as I work as a personal trainer, my background, I have a strength and conditioning certification, integrative health practitioner, and also certified through precision nutrition. My story started a long time ago, before I was even working within wellness. I was very young. I was in my 20s. I had a cyst on an ovary that was very, very large. Had it taken care of. They went in for surgery, emergency surgery. After that, I never really had a normal cycle. My menstrual cycles would last maybe 1 day or 2 days. Maybe it would show up every once in a while, 1 month, 3 months. And so it was so irregular. Then I was put on birth control pills for over 13 years. And unfortunately, that's not a good thing either. And that wasn't just like a Band-Aid to put it on top of the actual underlying hormone issues that I most likely had. So where I started, I decided I am no longer taking the birth control pills because it wasn't helping me any. I was starting to feel the same. I was feeling off. Yeah. And so normally when I would have my cycles, I would have a lot of other symptoms. I'd still have, I never really had cramps. I never really had headaches. I don't know what a normal menstrual cycle, people talk about the headaches, being on the couch in pain. That wasn't me at all. Wow. But I just didn't have some of my energy, but I wasn't sleeping well. I had disrupted sleep. So I went off the hormone, what they are, hormone pills, is the birth control pills. But then after I went off of those, I was fine for maybe a year. Then that's when hot flashes hit, and I had hot flashes, for 14 years.
Oh my word, you were waiting for hot flashes.
I would be sitting in a room, and it was like, oh my goodness, it is like heat from within, and it is so deep down. It would go through the middle of my back, it would go right up to my neck, and then it would just like a bomb went off, and the heat, it just exploded. I'm sweating, and I was working, and I'm meeting with people. I was working in corporate environment, working at meetings. Right. And all you want to do was just strip off your clothes because you just get whatever it took to get cooled down. Yeah. And it was, so you're dressed in layers, but after years and years and years and fighting through it, I spent a lot of money on supplements, a lot of money on things that promised me overnight success. Oh, you get rid of your hot flashes. I'll try this, or try black cohosh. I tried black cohosh for 18 months, and it didn't do anything. Doctors wanted to put me on different hormone therapies, and I did not, because I didn't like what they do to the body. By that time, I was already researching what I was doing, and realizing that for me, hormones, I wasn't comfortable with it either. Yeah. And then one time I was just listening to a pure fluff. I needed a mental mind break, and I was listening to some fluff of a podcast, and it was basically silly Hollywood entertainment, and that Dr. Cabral was a guest. I thought, wow, this is a really odd guest on this podcast that I normally listen to, and I'm thinking, oh, this is crazy. But I'm listening to him, and I kept having to rewind and rewind and rewind. Because in my heart of hearts, no matter what the job that I had, I was always, health and wellness was always part of it. Yes. And so after working in corporate in completely different field of logistics, I went back to school, got a degree, a bachelor's of science in in health and wellness, exercise and sports sciences. And then I got a minor in strength and conditioning. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just me. This is it. So that's where I switched then my roles into working within the corporate environment for wellness. But when I saw Cabral, I listened to Cabral, I didn't see him, but I listened to him. I'm thinking, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I got home, I was driving in my car, and I got home, I parked, I went online, and I just Googled him. I'm like, okay, gotta look this guy up. And then I discovered his podcast. I looked up his podcast.
Uh-oh.
I was addicted. The information he was giving was, oh my gosh, he gets me. I want a natural approach. There needs to be the balance of using lifestyle factors and using things that you can do, the powers within you in your own hands to help heal yourself.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing just listening to that information. I wanted more. And then I completed the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute education on level 1 and level 2. And then I wanted to teach this to the world. And so I also took mastery, the coaching certification. I already had a different coaching certification, education in coaching, but this was different. It was a different blend, and it was blending and it was also integrating the integrative health practices into the coaching. So it was working on behavioral change. And so I'm like, okay, now I have the complete package. Now, what are you going to do with this?
Yeah.
And that's when I started Daisy Wellness. And that's a whole other story of how that came about. But for me, it didn't end there. So once I got through the certification and the education, I learned about the protocols. I learned about the labs. I did labs on myself.
Awesome.
A lot of and yeah, so tested my hormones. And for me, I have hypothyroidism. I was in the time of being on birth control pills. Not only that, then I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking something has to change. What is going on? Because I'm planning to live to be 150. I'm not sure about anybody else, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the one of the only, if it's only the person, but I'm going to live to be 150. And I believe with good health, you can have longevity, and with well-balanced lifestyle and mood mindset, you can have that healthy lifestyle and live a long life with the quality of life, with vitality, with zest, with happiness as well. So, but my labs, what's that?
Really quick, Sue, what were your symptoms of hypothyroidism? What made you look at that and realize, hey, there's something wrong?
Oh, so, okay, I am this high type A person. I'm always on the go. So I wasn't tired. I wasn't fatigued. I wasn't experiencing lack of sleep or disrupted sleep, right, other than from the hot flashes. And so that I'm just thinking that's the hot flashes, that's my hormones, that's just something's not quite right. And I'm thinking I attribute that all the way back to things got dysregulated when I had the cyst, and realizing that from way back then. No, I was teaching classes, I was teaching group fitness classes. And interestingly enough, I was screaming into the microphone. And after class, one of the girls in the class, it was a women's only training studio. Yeah. And so one of the ladies, they kept telling me to shh, like to quiet down, just don't talk quite so loud. After class, so imagine me with the mic on, and I am just talking at the top of my lungs, thinking that they can't hear me because there's music playing too, So I'm thinking, okay, but they're all just saying, no, you need to quiet. It's just tone, just one notch lower. Okay, so I did, but afterwards, after the class, one of the nurses, an RN, stopped me and she says, I work in the women's health clinic. And I just, have you ever had your thyroid checked? She goes, I know this is really odd. I know it's very strange, but she said, I have known some women who have like tinnitus, where they have like a ringing in their ear. I said, that's exactly it. That's me. I go, you're kidding me. She goes, well, what do you hear? I go, it's just like, I have this ringing or this sound in my ears, and I feel like nobody else can hear me, and I have to talk above it because, it's loud in my head. And she goes, get your thyroid checked. And when I did, my TSH was at 15. Well, depending on which time within that short period of time that I took my TSH, they measured it 3-4 times within 6 weeks, and it was high as 15.
Now, what is
So
the normal range?
Normal range, should be, like optimal, like up to 2.5.
Oh, good night.
But each person is different. And, so some people are like at, 0.5 or 1 to 2.5. Some are their optimal levels at 3. And when you're looking at from, in the integrative health, you could like in clinical, in your conventional medicine, they go up to like 5 or 4.5. But then now I look at my provider, she doesn't think that's too high. So she likes to keep it more closer to 2 and lower. So I think it's looking at with your provider, seeing what they think is right. But ultimately it comes down to knowing where you feel right with the dosage. But it can't, there is a danger. Exactly. I was at 15. I mean, that's what they said. You're not tired. I go, no, I'm not tired. You're not falling asleep during the day. No, I'm not falling asleep during the day. And when my family and my friends and people who know me heard that I have hypothyroidism, they're just shaking their heads. Like, that's not right. But it was. I mean, and it was just, it's been a journey. I'm trying to work my way so I don't need as much of it, or hopefully my ultimate goal is to be off of it. But again, that's not always possible because it depends on how long you've had it and what, if there's been any damage to that thyroid.
Right.
But that was my sign. I had no idea. When you look up hypothyroidism, you look up thyroid, ringing in the ears is just not one of the top of the list. And
hey, I'm glad you said that. I'm very glad you said that because so many things are missed. So many things are missed, and people have no idea what's happening. They're just, they're thinking it's normal, or maybe I listened to music too loudly and now I have a ringing in my ears. Or I came across something and now I have ringing in my ears. But in this instance, actually, that was a sign of something more going on in your body. And thankfully that nurse was there, but also working on your own body, and you said you were doing testing, but have that confirmation as well to get you to push a little bit further. Wow, that's really good.
Right. So my testing, so that was when I was working within corporate wellness. And so I trusted. I mean, I put on medication. I'm taking levothyroxine, and I've been on that for years and years and years. And then I'm thinking but yet I'm taking levothyroxine. I got my thyroid, but I'm still going through all of this. I was hoping at that point in time that, that'll shut off my hot flashes. It did not. Night sweats. I had night sweats so badly and hot flashes. I would have 15, 20 an hour. It was nothing to go through periods. Then they would subside just a little bit. But the night sweats were horrible. I literally when I did laundry, I washed it, folded it, and put the stack of clothes right next to the bed because I would get up in the middle of the night and change my clothes 2 or 3 times a night. So you're not getting any quality sleep. You're not hitting that deep REM cycle like you need to for your body to repair and do what it needs to do. Because it's like you need that deep restorative sleep.
Yes.
That's when your body repairs and regenerates and eliminates and gets rid of all your toxins and the whole cellular repair. I wasn't getting all of it. And I'm thinking, but the medicine I thought would regulate my thyroid, but also then help with hot flashes. That didn't happen. So I knew that there was something else, I'm not sure. But that's where then after I started doing some labs testing, and somebody said, well, maybe you need to manage your stress. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm always this way. I'm always on the go. This is just who I am. I grew up that way. We've always been on the go growing up, we've always been that way, but yet something was not right. So I did some labs and, let me tell you, the numbers don't lie. I did minerals and metals. At that time, it was called hair tissue mineral analysis. And numbers were off the chart. They were very high, and what's showing that my adrenal markers were very, very high. my stress hormones were very, very high. And so I was like at this, like a near exhaustion stage. So because they were high, but then a while later I was testing them where they were getting all very, very low. So they were all over the place. But at the same time, throughout going through this, I realized, okay, now I have some stress, so now I have to take care of myself. So after the first time I took my set of tests, the labs, saw my numbers, and it was interesting because my cortisol levels followed the proper diurnal pattern, where high in the morning, dropping by lunch, dropping a little bit more in the afternoon, and then leveling off at nighttime. And then because the cortisol needs to be low for your melatonin to kick in so you can sleep at night.
Right.
But it was odd, and I'm still having the hot flashes, but yet I was stressed because some of my mineral markers were high. Yeah. And progesterone was very low. Estrogen, I'm in menopause, so some of that's expected to be low, but not that low, where it didn't even measure a ratio because I didn't have any. So I had to take DHEA and working that up. And at the same time working on that, then I worked on fixing my gut. And why I had to correct my gut, I took organic acids test. I did that. Of course, my hormones. So I wanted to check my hormones, right. But then I also wanted to check whether I had any candida, bacteria, yeast overgrowth, right. Checking on all my other markers, my metabolic markers, just for even like your methylation and how well you're doing with ketones and all of it. So how your mitochondria are functioning.
Beautiful.
Well, that was interesting because it showed I had bacteria so I had yeast and bacteria overgrowth. So I went through a protocol and corrected it, and it was great. Got it all balanced. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh, this is feeling good. And for about a few months, I was doing well, but then I'm like, okay, sometimes now the hot flashes, I balanced. Biggest thing I had to do was de-stress. You don't think it's a big deal, but I'll tell you, it is a huge deal, and they are connected. Because what happened was, so I knew I was stressed. So then I was working on your parasympathetic nervous system and using calming activities, calming down that sympathetic, that fight or flight. Right. Because you're driving to work and a car cuts you off, and boom, that your cortisol spikes because you get a little bit of anger in there. Yeah. And or you're running, your alarm clock doesn't go off, and oh my goodness, now you're running late in the morning and you're running, and that's that fight or flight response. That cortisol is ramped up again. There it goes, shoots it up. Then you go to work, you got tight deadlines. Oh my goodness. Oh, now the plans change. There's a change in your project that you're working on. Oh, now your deadlines change. Oh, there goes their cortisol. And so with that constant elevation, it really keeping it at an even keel. But over time, how you just you kind of easy to transition right back into your old habits.
Yes, so easy.
That's what was happening. And so everything that I did to balance my hormones and balance my gut got undone.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm very glad you said that, Sue. And the reason why is because a lot of people think once they've arrived, they're done.
No. And so once you go through all of the work to get it balanced and to get it fixed, you can't go back to what you were doing, because what you were doing was what put you in that position in the first place.
Exactly. Yes.
So my reminder this time was to tell me that why it was bad was because all of a sudden I woke up and I'm like, okay, what? I have a pimple on my nose. I've never had acne in my life. Never. And my family would always be jealous. Like I have a number of sisters, and they were jealous because, oh my gosh, you have great skin. I wish I had your skin. It's flawless. Well, wasn't flawless, not anymore. And it was so bad where I had very large I don't know if they were pimples or what they were called, but it was almost like, think of hives that erupted.
Oh, wow.
It was nasty. And they were under my eyes, across my cheeks. They were especially focused around my nose,
Wow.
went into my nose, and they were on my chin and around my mouth.
Yeah.
I went to a dermatologist and thinking, what is this? I never tied it to each other. Okay, thinking, because you don't want to admit that you put yourself in this position. It's not maybe something else. You know, like I came in contact with something, maybe something got on my skin.
Yeah.
So I spent a year, I removed all my cosmetics. I purchased all new cosmetics that are more organic, more natural.
Nice.
Let me tell you, for women, when you purchase makeup, it's expensive.
Yes.
And I had it all piled in I wish I would have taken a picture of me taking that huge pile of like all the moisturizers, the shampoos, the lotions, and the makeup, and just my arms swooping it into the garbage can. I'm thinking something's in this is causing and it cleared up slightly. It did kind of clear up.
Okay.
I still had there was a lot of red, and they were keep coming back, and then they were keep coming back. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe got toxic overload.
Yeah.
And so I went through like a metal detox. I know I had a little bit of high metals on my lab work, and I went through the metals detox, but this rash persisted, and it persisted. And the problem was I did not equate my gut imbalance to my rash. My stress that I took on all over again, and never, all of a sudden I was too busy to do my meditation. I was too busy to do my dry brushing in the morning. I was too busy to take the time for me and caring for everything else. But at that time as well, you go through life's transitions as you get older.
Yes,
you have aging parents, and you have aging parents, and you have aging family, and there's deaths in people that in your love around you and your loved ones. You have young, your nieces and nephews and children are all growing up and leaving home, and now you don't realize how much of this internal stress or emotional stress. It's not just physical. It's emotional stress that you hang on to. And if you don't take the time to help your body get through it, your body hangs on to it. And then that stress, it's a cortisol. So you're constantly putting your body in this fight or flight response.
Yes. So even with the emotional and charges that they may not have even come to you as a high peak or something very frightening or, in your opinion, stressful, it came nonetheless, and it was just piling on little by little by little by little by little.
Right. Exactly. Your alarm clock going off in the morning will spike your cortisol. You drink coffee without eating first. First thing in the morning, people are drinking coffee. That is not a good thing, and that increases that stress response. So you're constantly putting yourself in these positions of that elevated stress, fight or flight. And what happens when that happens, your body now thinks, oh my gosh, I need energy.
Yeah.
And then when it releases that energy, what it does is it signals that stress, that cortisol then signals your liver to release sugar that goes into your bloodstream, that then keeps your blood sugar elevated. And then you go through this, it rises. Then all of a sudden it drops, and it rises and drops. And you get this dysregulated blood sugar.
Absolutely. That's one thing I interrupt, but that's something that I've been trying to stress with my listeners as much as possible. Cortisol, it can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. It depends on how you treat it.
Yes, you need cortisol. I mean, think of it. Somebody, you're walking down a street at night and it's dark and a dog comes running at you. You need to have that emergent response to run. And that's what it's there for. Because you look at animals, so you look at, I like to say, equate to the gazelles, and you look in, they're around this body of water, all just heads down drinking. And all of a sudden there's a lion lurking in the background. All of a sudden they see the lion, boom, they run,
Right.
and they take off, and lion's chasing them, but then they forget about that situation. They go back to the water hole, and they just relax, and they start drinking their water again, and so, but we, we get this stress, and then we just start piling it on, but we don't. So somebody, things don't happen as you expect. You get anxious, and then that's where that overwhelm feeling comes from too. Is there's so much going on, and then you add in digital stress from technology, the stress that comes from the blue light from your computers, your cell phones, your laptops. Your fluorescent lighting. If you're working in an environment that has fluorescent lighting and without natural light, that all it creates this stress. And for some people, it's no big deal. They can handle it. For others, it is a big deal. But I finally, of course, I don't believe it until I see it. That's just
the way you are. That's the way a lot of people are. That's okay.
I like the numbers. I like to see the numbers. And so I had to see the numbers. So I did lab work again. And oh yes, I was back in that stress mode. I was back in that high stress. And with that high stress, and that's what happens. When that stress and those hormones get elevated for long periods of time, you get, it breaks down your connective tissues, it breaks down, muscles, it affects your skin, it affects your immune system, blood sugar levels. It's this imbalances that creates an imbalance in your thyroid hormones. And you can working on your gut, but the first thing you need to work on is your mind, that is so important for to start there. And so now of course my skin is a lot better.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, by the way.
Well, thank you. So at some point though, I do have it, it's coming back. And so right now I'm working on, again, I am having to calm my adrenals down. Because,
so what are you doing?
So right now it's just working on some things for adrenals, working on taking ashwagandha, rhodiola, and it's things that create this calm. Okay. And but mainly what I'm working on is I'm learning, and I have now, it's going back to being okay with saying no.
Yeah, because very good.
You remove things in your life, and okay, this is not contributing to my goals or my priorities. Yeah. So I did it just a couple of months ago. I made a list of what are my priorities. Okay, of that list, what are your top 3? And it's amazing. I do this when I coach with people, and I ask them, and it's amazing how many people never put themselves first. There seems to be some kind of badge of honor of taking care of everybody else except yourself. Yeah. Or being so busy taking care of everybody else. But you know what? If you aren't well and you aren't healthy, you won't be able to take care of anybody else. So the best thing you can do for you is take care of you. That's right. Yeah.
That's good. That's real good.
So that's what I am doing right now, and I've made up so for the last couple of months, and really stepping back and going back to that. And so if it wasn't working, and if I was still working with rash, and it was still not more, if it was still getting worse instead of getting better, then I add in the supplements. But first I do lifestyle and cutting. And really, really big lifestyle changes, cutting out sugar, alcohol, really no processed foods, and being very mindful of what you put in your body. My exercise, I type A, I'm competitive with myself. So yeah, I go out there, do my workout. I'm just going to go for a walk. Oh, before you know it. So my husband doesn't like to go for a walk with me because he doesn't think, oh, you're not going to go walking. You're going to be running. And that's what happens. I get bored with walking, and it's not fast enough. It's not enough. Yeah. And so, I got to run. And boom, I'm off like a gazelle running away from the lion.
Yes, yes.
And I turn around and there he is standing there with his hand on his hip, like, I told you so. And that's, but then it's a reminder because he used to run with me. And I told him, if I do that, don't fall into my own trap.
Yes.
He goes, I tell you, I said, well, he does. He stands there and waits for me to turn around and realize, oh, he's not following me. He's not by my side anymore. And so now, yeah, even my workouts, because I've realized as you get older, once I get over 50, 55, I'm seeing that, okay, that your workouts, intense workouts are not always friendly to women and their hormones.
Right.
It's a physical stress.
Yeah.
It's good for you, but yes, in moderation.
Yeah.
Because I was so used to pushing myself.
Yes.
To work on my own fitness goals. But my fitness goals really need to be, I made a new goal, and my fitness goals have to be a fitness goal that also balances with my hormone balance.
That's right.
I can't put the fitness goal in front of the hormones because the hormones has a bigger, much larger detrimental consequence than me not getting my 30 minutes of intense activity.
Yeah.
So now I do a lot more hiking. I go for a run. It's not 10, 15 miles, 20 miles. I go 3 to 4 miles.
Yes.
And I don't do it every single day. It's 3 days a week. I have 2 days where it's about me. That time that I was normally work out, that's my time now. I will read. And I will do grounding. I have a grounding mat. Now that it's getting cooler where I'm at, I'm living in Wisconsin. So now the weather is not as nice in the mornings like it used to be, where I could sit outside, put my feet on the grass and do grounding. I purchased a grounding mat, which helps. But just really having to take that step back.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my gosh, it's going to affect your weight. My weight hasn't changed. Actually, because of the hormones being regulated, being balanced, blood sugar being balanced, now I don't have the weight gain, the ups and downs of those a few pounds coming on and off,
Exactly.
And I don't have that like the bulgy belly. And after taking out sugar and removing gluten, because gluten is not friendly for my thyroid.
Yes.
So so this is, those lifestyle changes.
Exactly.
And that having to go through this the second time around, even though you think you're not stressed, numbers don't lie. And I don't care. I couldn't fool myself anymore. And I had to be honest with myself and saying, okay, be acceptance of this is where you're at. And it's okay to say no. It's okay that your schedule is not busy. And you have with something penciled in from morning to night, right before you sit down. So that's usually what happens. People run.
Yes.
And then all at the end of the day, they sit down to eat. They sit down to maybe watch a little bit of TV, and then they sit down and then they go lay down to go to bed.
Yeah.
Their body and mind is on overdrive for the entire day.
That's fantastic. That's good. You see, those are the things that people need to hear, because really we are such a people of run until you burn out. And so it's so easy to just fall in that trap and just do those things and just think about yourself. And then if you start thinking about yourself, you say, oh, well, now I'm being selfish. And really, and it's not fair to you, because you can't pour from an empty cup, but good night, you can't even hold water in a broken cup. So you really
That's right. Well, and it's basically you're pouring all this energy into it's like thinking of taking a balloon with a hole in it. You're pushing all this air into this balloon, but there's a hole and all the air is going right back out. So there's no benefit to giving it all that effort when in the end it's exhausting you.
Exactly.
And this is, so like for me, I things that are important that I still take every day. I do ashwagandha. I do take ashwagandha. I do take B vitamins, because B vitamins are very, very important. I do take a good a protein powder. It's a supplement, like for my morning smoothie. I make a morning smoothie every single morning that has all the vitamins, the minerals, it's the greens powder mixed in, because there's just a lot of, you have to take, because a lot of times people have to remember that supplements aren't to replace what you're not giving your body.
Yes.
Supplements is just that. They supplement. They help fill a gap.
Yes.
But still, you still have to fuel it wisely, because the food you put in is the information. It's instruction for your body. And if you don't feed it well, and that's where, if you don't feed it well, it will make do. It will pull. Your body will pull from wherever it needs to do what it needs to do. And one thing that, if you are always in this constant state of stress, and if you're then where your blood sugar now is going up and down, because you're on or raised, it can remain elevated for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that's where, if you constantly are there, the consequences of that is, especially this time of the year, your immunity is going to affect your immunity.
Right.
And you really need to take care of yourself, but the supplements only help fill some of those gaps. But like your body will definitely pull from where it needs, because with that constant raised cortisol. So if you're always in that, I need energy.
Yes.
It's going to do whatever it can to keep that cortisol level up.
That's exactly right. That's awesome. Now we have to, I'm looking at the time. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to ask is, to sum up, if you could give like 3 pieces of advice to get people on track the way they want to, the way you see that you had to be on track and you saw what you had to do.
Yep.
And if you had to say you're talking to a client, what would you say to them to get them back on track, to get them started at least?
To look at their priorities, what is important to them. And then everything else that you fill your day up. So if you think of there's a story about rocks, pebbles, and sand, where your rocks are your priorities. Those pebbles are the things that, you need to do, but they're not that important. And the sand is everything else that you fill your day with, like the social media, the time watching TV. The pebbles are the things that you like washing your dishes, and you got to clean your house, and you have to take your children to work, but the rocks are those things are your priorities. What are those rocks? Is it family? Number 1 should be your health. Yes. That's what I say. Put yourself at the top of that list. But I always have them make their own list first, and then I'll say, I don't see you on that list, because that's number 1. And then looking at and being very honest with yourself. Take a day and fill it out. Take a sheet of paper and say, what's filling my day? Yeah. And looking at that, what is filling my day? Yeah. And then look at what are things I can change that contribute. Everything I do in my day should feed into your top 3 priorities.
Nice.
And if it doesn't, then we look at it. But when it comes to the health, and so then it looks at lifestyle. And it's really looking at your lifestyle. What are some simple things somebody can do? Walk for 20 minutes after you eat. You get done eating? Yeah. Walk. Just get everything moving. And so it helps that with that uptake, get that blood sugar moving, and then with that spike, and get the nutrients moving through. It also helps with motility too. So you're not saying going running, just go for a walk. Go for a walk around the block. But it's just simple lifestyle things that you can do. Take time for yourself at night before you get sleep. Sleep should be one of your main lifestyle factors. Good nutrition, some activity, and sleep. Sleep is so important. Very, very important.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's really it in a nutshell too. If people really paid attention to those things, the other things would pretty much calm down. Of course, there are toxicities and things that we have to deal with, but the main things, those are the main things that really drag us down into the gutter. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't even realize it because we think it's normal. And
you talk about your priorities with something, well, I have to do this and I have to do that. But really looking at those priorities, do you have to do it? Or do you feel like oh, I have to do it because nobody else can do it as good as me.
Uh-huh.
Or I have to do it because, well, nobody else is going to do it. But then you ask yourself, did I ask anybody? Are there things you can delegate? Do you have to take on that workload of, everything in the household?
Right.
Do you have to, can you delegate? We are the worst at asking, especially women, we are the worst for asking for help.
Yes. Yeah.
We think we're like this. We wear many hats.
Yes.
We're the financer of the household. We're like the accountant.
Yep.
We're the dry cleaner in the laundry service.
Yep.
We're the chef.
Yep.
We're the maids.
Yes.
We're the organizer. We're the master schedule. We're the chauffeur.
Right.
And you wear all these hats. And so at some point, and I worked with somebody, and they actually started talking to their neighbors more, and it actually helped build a relationship with their kids, because now their kids were going to some of their practices with some of their neighbor kids. They never really talked to their kids, the neighbor kids before. So It's building those relationships, but it gave her then that extra hour of time that she could do something else. And the neighbor goes, oh, sure, I'll take them today. And they made a schedule. And so you don't know until you ask. And so we don't have to do it all, and we don't have to do it alone. And that's really important.
Yes, we don't have to do it all, and we don't have to do it alone.
No.
And those are two bonus on top of the three that you gave. Sleep, prioritizing yourself, and then oh man, that's great.
Yeah, because
I have to do it by yourself, and that's just fantastic, because that's what we do. We're so doing it alone because we think, just like you said, we think that nobody else can do it as good as we can. And really, we may be that thing.
Well, at least that's how I used to think. And now, once I started releasing some of the stuff that I think I needed to do, I'm like, oh, you want to do that? Oh, go ahead. That's great. You go. Yeah, I know. I don't mind, really. Go ahead. And so it's just like, it becomes easier. And when you have to, so somebody asks you to maybe, hey, you want to join us for dinner? Hey, or do you want to come over? Yeah. And just say no. No, it wouldn't be a good time for me. Right. No other. It doesn't need any other explanation other than that simple no. Yeah. Because it's a protection of your own time, and that's what you need to do. Absolutely. And giving yourself permission to put yourself first. Yes. That it's okay.
That's beautiful. Oh my word. Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate it. Now you guys have to check out Sue's website. I've been looking at it all day yesterday, and throughout the week and whatnot. And it's beautiful. You should see the beautiful pictures. Besides the way her outlook on coaching and reaching out to people and helping people, I think it's a really amazing. She's not just an integrative health practitioner. She's not just an integrative health practitioner level 2. I mean, she's doing that. She is also a life coach. She is a physical fitness. Good night. This woman is on fire.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's really exciting. I might have to get some coaching advice from you later about some physical fitness for myself. But you did mention that, because I asked you for a recipe, because you guys know how I do about recipes. I love recipes. I love food. And anytime I can get some good food, I am excited, because that was my way into health. When I started, I didn't have food. Always seemed so daunting to me. And when everybody told me I couldn't have because I was a diabetic, it was so hard to find something that I could have that actually tasted good. You know what I'm saying? Where life is not just so boring, and you're so, just eat this. And then, right. And then, and the things that they told me to eat anyway were no good anyhow. So it didn't help. Right. It didn't help at all. But now I always like to share a recipe, especially from someone who jumps on with me, because I know my taste buds, and I have international taste buds, but maybe, just maybe, especially Sue from Wisconsin, she yeah, that you guys might be interested in. And then also I'm going to put her links up, and it's daisywellness.com. Yes.
Yes.
Daisy Wellness. I love it. It is so, I just love the way the layout is easy to follow. It's everything is so simple, really. And I was just like, wow, this is so simple and it's so clean. So you guys can, it's just easy, it's user friendly. But for now, I will put it on I'll put the links down below, as well as you guys will get to look at the recipe as well. But she's gonna go ahead and tell us what it is, because I think you'd be pretty surprised.
Yeah, actually, I have two on my Instagram page. Well, I am on Instagram and Facebook. So, because some clients, some of my followers are not Instagram, and some of them are more Facebook. So there's one I just put out there this week, and it's a pumpkin chia seed pudding.
Oh, so
and it is delicious. And if you love pumpkin pie, you will love this pudding. And you refrigerate it, but I personally love to eat it. I'll heat it up slightly. I'll just heat it up just a little bit, and it gets a little bit of warmth. It's like eating, it's like eating pumpkin pie. It's yummy, just without the crust. But it's really, and it's simple. It's very simple to make. And if you, it's that's what I like because for me, I'm busy. I want simple, easy recipes. And then there's another one on there for buckwheat crepes. Ooh. And buckwheat is technically, it's not wheat, so I'm gluten-free.
Yes.
And buckwheat is basically, it's from I want to say it's a seed, and it's from the rhubarb family.
Okay.
I believe it's the rhubarb family. Don't hold me to that, but I believe it's the rhubarb family. I have to look it up for sure. But it's buckwheat, so it's buckwheat crepes. So if somebody thinks, I can't have gluten, well, there's no gluten in buckwheat. But it's a simple crepe. You can make the batter a little bit thicker if you want pancakes. Right. I love the buckwheat crepes because they're nice and thin. And then I can roll up with I just make a simple blueberry. I'll heat some blueberries up on the stove with a little bit of like with honey, just to get a little bit of sweetness, and cook it so it gets almost a little bit thickened, and pour that over top of the crepes and roll it up, and yummy, all goodness. Yeah, I like easy. That's my favorite. It's one of my favorite Sunday morning.
Awesome. That's awesome. That sounds really delicious. And just to remind me and the listeners, your Instagram handle is?
It says as daisy.wellness.
Okay, Daisy. Very easy. That's the Instagram handle. And Facebook as well. Is it the same?
It's just at Daisy Wellness, Integrated Health.
Okay, and I will put those links down below, guys, so that way you guys can click onto those too. Because if you click on her Instagram, you're gonna see those recipes, and man,
and if anybody,
go ahead.
It's like if you look at their website, if you have any questions, I mean, anytime, if they have any questions, or if you just want to talk and they're not sure, kind of like, what, it's like a service is for you or not, I have a free discovery call. I mean, there's no obligation whatsoever, none. And you just call and say, okay, I'm not sure this is for me, or what I should, which program that I list. And I also too, I list programs, but then I also work with individuals where maybe none of those programs work for them. And it's just, we do the coaching, and then we integrate within that coaching. If there's labs that they decide they want later, that can always be added, and everything can be customized. But it's been a pleasure talking to this, because this is like, I like to me, it's just spreading the love to everybody, and to realize, for everybody to know that you're not just anything.
Exactly.
You are amazing. You are you. You have limitless potential. And what you believe you can do, you're right.
Yes.
And that's what's so important for people to remember. And you might think, I got this long journey. Oh my gosh, this is going to take me forever.
Right.
It's with anything. Think of a trip that you planned, or the goal. Maybe you wanted to buy a house or buy a car. Right. What did you do? All of a sudden, you just started doing one step at a time. Okay, what do I want for a car? What color do I want? How much money do I need? What do I need? Then you start saving and put a little bit away, a little bit. It's that little effort along the way that leads to success. It doesn't have to be done all at one time.
That's right.
That proves less successful than doing smaller steps and going, and especially when it comes to transformation in your body.
Yes.
You need to be small.
That's
And so,
right.
yeah.
Oh my word, you guys, you're getting a wealth of knowledge from Sue right now, and I really hope that you really appreciate this because not only is she coming from a place of a professional, but she's coming from a place of client. She's doing both. So you have to understand that just because you're not where you want to be doesn't mean that if you have knowledge that you can't share it, because she's a living example. And just because you get to where you want to be and you fall backwards doesn't necessarily mean that you're done. It's over. You quit, get thrown in the towel, because you see Sue, she rebounded and she rebounded again. Yeah, she went through those levels of stress and all of the things that just drug her down. And you see how easy it is to be get drugged down by life. And life is a beautiful thing, and we love people, and because we love people, we take on their burdens, and we take on their hurts, and we take on their pains, and we also take on their stress. And the stress that we take on from them is may not be ours, but we take it on, and we take it on with ferocity. It does. It does something to us as well. And as you heard, Sue, she wound up with acne that is crazy acne. She wound up with, not what was it, not being able to, did you say you weren't able to sleep well as well? Was that
Yeah. Yeah, just from the night sweats.
The night sweats,
yeah.
And just keep that in mind too. See, you may not know. And just like she with her thyroid, for example, she had the ringing in her ears. These are things that you may not be able to find on Google, just letting you know. So here's a real person telling you her experience. And I really hope that you guys are able to hold on to that. And not only, if you have questions, get a hold of Sue, get a hold of her.
Thank you.
It's down below, but really, if you feel like you resonate with her story, you resonate with her, with the way she is, her A-type personality. I know you guys are out there. If you feel, because you just want to, you want to push. If you resonate with her, because it's like amazing. I may not, like I always say, I may not be the one for you, but there's always someone out there for you. And I just want you all to know that one, you are not alone. You're not going through these emotions alone. You're not going through these stresses alone.
Right.
You are not going through these hormones alone. And I really want you to understand that these hormones, they are a blessing, they are a gift, but they also need to be balanced.
That's perfect. Well said. Perfectly said. Exactly.
Yeah, so please check out Sue and check out that recipe. And then if you do, please send me an email, send me a picture, or better yet, post a picture to her Instagram and or to her Facebook to let her know that you made it, because I think that I want to try that chia pumpkin pudding.
Yep, it is. Yes, it is great. One little hint, I'll say, make a little bit extra, have a little bit extra more pumpkin when you season it, so you could add a dollop on top after it sets. You'll see it in the picture. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, it's great.
It looks like we're almost at the time. We have like 5 more minutes. Is there anything that you want to say before we sign off?
I just, for everybody out there, is just know that there is always a way forward. And no matter where you are at, keep searching and believe that in yourself more than, for the first step, that's the biggest thing, is to believe in yourself, and that we are not broken. Yes. We are just imbalanced, and it's just, there's steps, simple things you can do to restore that balance and equilibrium, that symbiotic relationship amongst all your systems in the body, because they all connect. When one is wrong, it can then have that downward effect. But know that there is always that next step forward, and don't give up. Don't give up. Awesome. Because you're, like I said, everyone has that limitless, unbelievable potential. Fantastic. To become who they want to be. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, Sue, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for your presence. Believe me, it's always a blessing to hear other people's stories, so that people know that they're not alone. And I think if they thought so before, hopefully this is evidence that they're not. And you're not crazy, people. You're not crazy. Right. Things are happening.
Right. So, yep.
Sue, I want to thank you once again, and I want to thank you for everything. And
You are welcome.
I'm going to wish you a beautiful day. It looks like it's so beautiful, sunshiny still in Wisconsin.
Yes, well, it is sunshine, but it hasn't been for the past 4 or 5 days. It has been just very, very dark, cloudy and windy. Yeah, so this is a beautiful treat, but no matter what, if you look at my website and you read my story, you'll know that I'll end it with every day, no matter how dark or gloomy it is, there is a spot of sunshine in every single day. Truly, there is.
Oh,
We just have to choose. We have to choose to see it.
that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, if you guys are going to end on anything, that positive mindset is definitely one. Look for the sunshine. Look for the beauty. Look for the sunshine.
Yep.
Thank you again, Sue. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
And yeah, I will be talking to you soon.
Okay, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
You're welcome.